Okay, my friends, so today we're going to get into something called the binomial distribution. It's a discrete distribution, much like the ones we've been doing for the past few days, and it's one of many discrete distributions. The thing about probability distributions is very often you have to observe trials to see what the probabilities are. We've talked about that quite a bit in this course. Sometimes I feel like I talk about it too much, and I apologize. But there are some times when you're running statistical experiments that things behave a certain way, and then you can utilize the properties of specific distributions. And the binomial distribution is one of the most useful and one of the most prevalent for those of you going further in statistics. Like I said, it's a discrete distribution, which means it can be counted. The random variables in it can be counted. We've already experienced it a bunch of times in this course, but I've kind of kept it hidden and just talked about it at face value as opposed to what's going on. So today we start talking about what's going on. And one of my favorite examples of this is utilizing something that happened with my family years ago. Excuse me, squeaky. With my family years ago, when our son was very, very young. I think he was 2 when we started. We began raising backyard chickens, and we did it for over a decade. It was super fun. We used to go to the store, and we'd buy the little chicks, and they'd come in these little Happy Meal looking boxes. And I remember the first flock we bought 4. And then every once in a while, some would die, and we'd replace them with new ones. And, you know, we ended up, I think, we had like 11 or 12 by the end of the tenure that we had them. But I'll never forget that first day we bought the first 4. Max went in, and, you know, you go into these feed stores with the baby chicks in these huge bins. And he's in there picking out his favorites. And they come in this little, like I said, this little Happy Meal box. And I remember walking up to the counter and chatting with the guy at High Desert Ranch and Home, which is, I don't think it's there anymore. It used to be out there on 4th Street in Bend. And his name was Joel, super sweet dude. And I used to talk to him every time I went in there. But this was the first time I ever talked to him. And I said, so how do you know these are girls? Because when we purchased them, you purchase pullets, which are sexed females. I forget what the sexed males are called. Roosters, I guess. But pullets are supposed to grow up to be chickens, not roosters. And I said, how do you tell? I mean, look at this thing's this big. It's like it's a marshmallow peep. How do you know it's a girl? And he said, he explained it to me, and it was a long time ago, and I've forgotten what he said. But he basically told me that there's a process they use to determine whether they're girls. And I think it's a physical and maybe partially chemical process. I don't remember what he told me. But he said, I never forget this, he said, we're 90% certain that any chick is female, that any pullet is female. And I took a look down at that Happy Meal box, and I said, so you're telling me there's a 1 in 3 shot there's a rooster in here somewhere? And he looked up at me and he said, you're going to have to explain to me how you just figured that out. So as we go through today, I will explain to you, some of you could probably figure it out right now. As we go through today, I want to establish the binomial distribution, of which this is a great example, and also chat more about the connectivity of this distribution to other things. But let's start with chickens.